Hello and welcome to Rock Studios at Automation Fair. My name is Mike Shuddy. I'm an account manager with Rockwell Automation, and I'm excited today to be talking to you about virtual troubleshooting and digital twin technology using Emulate 3D. Hopefully you've been able to join us in Chicago this year for Automation Fair, but if you're watching at home, please drop a hello in the live stream chat, and if you have any questions for myself or our guests today, drop those in the chat as well, and we will try to address those if we have time at the end of the video. Joining me today are Gary Cash, Senior Vice President and
General Manager.
thank you, General Manager at Matthews Automation, and Jason Johnson, Senior Director of Controls at Matthews Automation. Thank you both for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
So it's just right off the bat, can you share how you've been able to experience savings using Emulate 3D as a digital twin technology?
You know, Jason and I have been talking about emulating systems for a long time. And some of the feedback we had was that you really don't save much. You have to do extra work emulating up front, which you then save on site, and it's kind of a wash. What we found recently is that every system has more challenging areas, you know, that are difficult to start up, and when we're struggling on those, we know that had we emulated, we actually would have saved money on that system and avoided the overrun.
When we were able to have the developers test standard libraries or new code before going to the field where we would have to test on the equipment.
So has there been any areas specifically where you've seen some large savings doing that?
Yeah, one of the biggest savings can come when we can test unique or complex subsystems with Emulate 3D before we attempt to test it in the field. It can often be a huge challenge to arrange testing with significant product volume with the customer, manpower, and the engineers can't watch everything that's happening at once. And if something doesn't go as planned, another test has to be scheduled, often multiple times, and that can be extremely time consuming for everybody, especially the customer. So if we make a change to the code or the configuration, we can rerun the exact same tests and see if it has the desired results. And it makes the testing we do much more successful.
Awesome. So shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about ROI. Have you been able to recognize ROI on the investment that you made to buy Emulate 3D?
Mike, ROI is hard to calculate on something like that. We struggled with that when Gary and I were discussing if we'd make this investment or not. For example, on many projects, we don't use it at all. We don't have a need for it. The best we can usually do is estimate how much time and cost the equivalent testing or debugging would have cost us and the customer if performed in the field. In many cases, that would be significant. It could also be time we don't really have available to us on the schedule. So the engineers in the field can keep focusing on other issues, other areas, and we can have engineers in the office working on that specific issue with Emulate 3D. Also, we were just starting to explore how to leverage that for training. And our early tests at that have proven pretty valuable. We don't always have examples of the customer's equipment, but if we can emulate it, we can train and test with it.
So is there a lot of extra effort that's required to set up an Emulate system, or is there extra time needed up front to put a system in place?
Yes, there is some investment in creating the graphical view, and the engineers have to basically commission and perfect the emulation. And then you have to perform the actual test using the emulator, most of which will be repeated in the field on the actual equipment. This is why we don't test everything with Emulate 3D. Some things we don't need to test. Things, for example, we have a good solid code base on. We know that works pretty well. But we do test something with Emulate 3D. The testing in the field, like I said, goes much better, have a higher success rate, and increases customer confidence.
I realize most of the systems that you put together are different across different customers, but when using an emulator, how do you leverage what you do in an Emulate system to hit those different installations that you have?
Yes, we do. Recently, while commissioning a large and complex system for one of our customers, the field team reported they had uncovered a small bug, but were having trouble replicating it. This subsystem was not easy to observe, and since the system was a greenfield, the customer really didn't have a lot of product or manpower to assist us in testing. So it was hard to get product to run the test, hard to get enough engineering eyes on the actual problem. So we did an emulation of the subsystem and had engineers work on it back in the office, where they could work on it, repeat it, get multiple eyes on it. And not only were we able to fairly quickly address the actual issue, we were able to thoroughly test that subsystem using Emulate 3D in a fraction of the time it would have taken us to test it in the field. And when we did the actual testing with the customer of that subsystem, it went very well. So it saved us, I would estimate, weeks, us and the customer.
That's really exciting and awesome as well. Gary, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, as you know, Mike, what we do is repeatable, meaning we have sorters, we have merges, we have right angle transfers that are building blocks that we use to build up a system. And whenever we handle a new sorter, it makes sense to emulate because everyone's a little different. And then once we have the emulation done, we might do a sorter that's slightly different. You start with the emulation you have, maybe a couple tweaks, and you're off and running. So what that really helps is it helps us look more prepared in front of the customer because the code had been pre-tested. And when that happens, they want to buy from us again. And I'll tell you, the best ROI in my book is getting that repeat business.
That's awesome, Gary. So Jason and Gary, thank you for taking time today to share your thoughts and insights on Emulate 3D. We appreciate the time you've taken with us. And thank you for watching us online as well. We'll be here throughout the day, so please stop back and watch and join us for other videos as the day progresses. Thank you very much.